Hello and welcome to the Winning Post presented by the Kishore Digger Group in association with the Serum Institute of India. I'm Mohit Lalvani, and as always there's plenty on the show. We begin with Hormuz Antia, a close-up chat with a man who many believe to be an enigma at the racecourse.
Next day I can guarantee you one thing. You'll see him running the CN Waria, the Eclipse Stakes. You'll see him go there. He's still a maiden when I talk to you. No.
That's not fair.
Also on the show, we will look ahead to the Poonawalla Breeders Multi Million, a Group 1 race also known as the Juvenile Derby. Let's get started, however. Mandira Lalvani caught up with Hormuz Antia.
On the Winning Post, it has been our endeavour to bring you face to face with some of the professionals from the racing industry, to tell you more about them as professionals and of course even tell you the story of their lives and really bring them out for you. Today with me is Hormuz Antia, who like Pacey Shroff and Malesh Naredu was a jockey first and then decided to hang up his riding boots and don the hat of a trainer. Thanks very much for talking to us today, Hormuz, and let's start right from the beginning. How did it all start for you? When did you decide to become a jockey and how did it happen?
Jimmy Bharucha recommended to my father that I become a jockey. I was keen on doing college, but between Jimmy Bharucha and my father, they forced me to go to Ireland to train. So I was at Kildare for 2 years, the tutelage of the Irish Army, and then Mr. Dermot Weld was then current leading trainer in Ireland, champion here many years ago. Was riding for him as first jockey when I went there, long time ago.
Wow. Did you have an option to stay on in Ireland or did you have to come back after 2 years?
My father came there and got me back. So I really didn't have much of an option.
So obviously your father's been a very strong influence in your life.
Yes, he made most of the decisions at that time.
I would imagine a parent normally to say, no, you go and study and, you know.
Family is very academically inclined. My sister is a gold medalist science student in Karnataka State. Daddy was always distinguished, 80% plus, never second in his class, was a professor, teaching mathematics, history in college. So by their standards, I was a nobody. So therefore, they put me into this field.
Okay, now tell me when you started riding, and in India at least, how was it compared to Ireland? And did you start with a bang? How did it all pan out?
I had it very rough. And I first came here, I worked for the Gokul Dases. Obviously, I didn't get very much of an opportunity opening out here. And I was a little disappointed. My father thought he'd talk to Rashid Behramji in those days and ask him if he'd keep me. And he did that. And Mr. Behramji said, okay. And I first started really riding horses with Mr. Rashid Behramji. Even though I did not get many winners from him, I learned a hell of a lot underneath him. And I was champion apprentice Bangalore summer, Bangalore winter and Bangalore summer back to back.
Wow.
Yes. And even though he had Shinde riding for him at that time, Vasan Shinde, as you know, was top steps. You didn't get much of a chance to ride in the stable, but you got a lot to learn. You improved and eventually you got on your own 2 feet.
Okay, speaking about Rashid Behramji, tell me about the time when you rode his horse Bergamo in Calcutta and how, that entire incident with the other jockeys.
I had 2 incidents with Bergamo. First, I had the first incident in the Calcutta Gold Cup because at that time, Aris David was training for Ramaswamy and Robin Connor was riding for him, had brought a horse down for the Bangalore Derby, who had won the Bangalore Derby, a horse called Maltese Prince. And they were very strong on him in the Calcutta Gold Cup. And they would tease me every morning. Every morning they'd keep teasing me. And
what would they say?
Say, you're ready to get your first thrashing. Get nervous, you're on the favorite. And they kept on...
These mind games.
Yes, playing these games. And it was rankling. I couldn't say anything. Robin was much more senior. Aris David was really senior. So I was on top of the horse. Came into a straight and took over the running. And I was giving this horse 9 kilos, a lot of weight in those days. And I just couldn't forget that what these guys were doing to me every morning. So I turned around, I took out my goggles I waved to him saying, "Come, you're too slow." And while doing all this, I hadn't noticed my horse from the railing had gone to the outer side. I finished the race, I was called up immediately, and they fined me in those days quite a bit. Mr. Wadia was then in charge. He fined me a lot, warned me, and that was that.
And how did Rashid Behramji react to that? Considering that, you drifted out without realizing it and hadn't yet won the race.
He never ever said anything to me about that. But when I won the Sprinters Cup on him, he got annoyed with me because in an interview prior, I was asked what kind of chance I would have by the newspapers in Calcutta. And I said, if you drew me on the road, if my draw was on the road, I still don't think anybody can beat me. And he said, you can't pass comments like that. And he was very annoyed about that. He said, you don't give interviews like this. So that's the only time I think he's ever scolded me for giving or saying anything.
What else did you, learn from him, and how has he been an influence in your life?
See, we were taught differently. I mean, you were never told. You just had to do what you were saying. You couldn't say no in those days. Like today, anybody just tells you no for anything. In those days, if he said sit, you sat. And if he said stand, stand. And we worked very hard. We swam horses, we lunged horses. And in totality, he put us on his champion horses in morning work, which was a big blessing.
As a jockey, your feedback was very valued. What you thought of a horse, and from what I've heard, it was almost exceptional. How did you manage that? What goes into the perfect feedback?
Judgment when riding work is God-given. It's not something you can develop to a certain extent, but basically it's God-given. Like riding in a race is God-given.
But the divine aspect aside, technically speaking, if you were to explain to a layman or even a younger jockey, somebody who's works with you,
you can learn a lot on TV. You can learn a lot from the replays, things like that. But like people like Vasant Shinde or Aslam Kader, they were uneducated. Not people. It's just that it's given raw talent, inherent talent, and that was with me when it came to work. I could sit on a horse, and by the third day, I could tell Mr. Behramji he was a champion.
Wow.
Yes.
Has this talent passed over to your trainer sensibilities too?
I can recognize a good horse. Certainly, yes. Yes. If I have a good horse, I know it immediately.
Really? Yes. Okay, you were talking about your time as a jockey when everything was, you all were so disciplined and everything was so strict
Yes.
and all of that. Compared to your time, how do you rank and rate the jockeys today?
You have a dearth of good riders today. In my time, the competition was 10 times as stiff. I mean, you had Sinclair Marshall, you had Nelson Rubin, you had the Alford brothers, you had Vasant Shinde, you had Karan Singh, who was an absolute champion, you had Jagdish. I mean, you didn't have to hunt around for riders. Today, you got to hunt around for a good rider.
Why would you have to do that?
Well, there's no, if you could start a school or a certain training school, proper training school for them to learn, I mean, it would do a lot of good, because today, I mean, you have a handful of good boys. Then you have to hunt. In our time, we didn't have to hunt. Okay, so-and-so is not there, next fellow. So-and-so is not there, the next fellow. I mean, you'd have 40 good riders practically in the same league. And our Indian boys were no inferior. No inferior. Even Pacey,
Of course, Pacey was the top jockey. Yes.
Well, on that note, we'll take a short break. Come right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Winning Post. When we left you, we were in conversation with Hormuz Antia. Well, let's go back and join that conversation.
At what stage of riding did you decide it was time, and why? What brought about that decision?
I hurt my back in morning work one day, and I had a, what do they call it, a disc. Slip, yes. So, doctor said that it's too risky for you to ride anymore, and you've got to give it up. You have no option. So then I thought about training. I myself am not highly educated. As you know, I just passed 10. since I had ridden for so many owners at that time, I got a reasonably good break. I got, 20, 25 horses to start with and progressed from there.
You just said, you didn't study a lot, the
No.
conventional
Yes.
school kind of a thing.
Yes.
Have you ever felt that that's been a drawback? Or
See, I'll tell you, in our line, you learn more from experience than you learn from the book. Every day is something new. Even as a trainer, something in the hoof, something in the tendon, something in the shoulder, some horse having a problem here. There are more so people like me, because we didn't get horses which were straight. It's only lately that, few big owners have come and they give me good horses.
that's right, you had a lot of problematic horses to begin with. How did you work your way around that?
It was a learning experience. These were horses that had done nothing anywhere else. They'd come to me at zero. So I had to start from scratch, and I had no option but to learn. If I didn't learn, I'd starve.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, in this field of horse racing, it's almost an art to be able to hide a horse effectively and then plan a good gamble for your owners, and maybe sometimes at the cost of, having accusations hurled at you. How do you deal with that?
I've been so successful in that charges were levied on me, that I had put on bandages, was putting something inside bandages, was bringing horses down. I was even charged at one stage of running in company, purposely running my horses in company that was too tight for them. Though there is no rule saying an 8-year-old can't run with a 4-year-old, so long as you're eligible in the same class. But even that accusation was levied at me. And I think this was more so because most of those horses had done nothing elsewhere, and they came to me, and I was winning races. As you know, in the last 15 years of my career, during the Bombay season, I've been in the top 3 for 9 years. I finished second on the tally twice. Winners have not been a dearth for me, and they've come with horses most of the time which have performed nowhere else. So because of that, a lot of issues were taken up and they were gambled on. I don't deny that, there was betting on them. Horses who had never won in their life but were betted on successfully. And it seemed to get me on the wrong side of the law, so much so that I still have a 6-month suspended sentence hanging on my head. I have to be very careful. Even if I finish 5 lengths from the winner, I think 10 times, should I run or should I not? Because that's the situation I am in today.
So you always have to watch your step.
At the moment, I'm watching my back all the time.
In your 15 years as a trainer, what's been the biggest high for you so far?
I've enjoyed, working on horses that couldn't be run anywhere else. I've enjoyed winning races. But ever since Star Trainer came along, now I enjoy trying to win the big races.
Tell us a little bit more about Star Trainer.
He's made me think differently. I'd like to start off by winning something big, no longer thinking only of the gamble. As time went by, we've changed a bit. We'd like to try and participate. Even if we have no chance, we'd like to try and participate, irrespective, in the big races. That's something he's made me do.
How have horses as animals changed you? As a jockey, your relationship with the horses was different, I'm sure. And now as a trainer, just tell me a little bit about this.
You're more in contact with horses as a trainer because you've got, in my case, I had so many lame horses and so many horses who came, wherein, the doctor would say to the owner, take for example Fortuna. Keki and his wife came one day over here saying, they're saying retire him to a good home. And he's got no chance because he's got one tendon less in him. So, I have to be in close contact with these animals to first get them sound before I get them to win. Yeah. And you get in close contact with horses, you get a little more attached from that point of view.
Now, we've discussed your career as a jockey.
You just ride them.
Yeah, you ride them.
You walk away and you get paid for it.
Yeah, so the grass is anyway always green on the other side, right? As is with most professions and work generally, but more so here at the race course, one's personal life ends up taking quite a toll. And the same thing happened with you. You went through a very painful period personally with a divorce. How did you overcome it? You know, how big a hurdle was that for you?
Enough to make me lose 20 kilos?
Really?
Yes. Stressed me out, spoiled my health. Oh, thank God I left it behind, otherwise I wouldn't be...
So was it very difficult for you to get over it?
for the first 1 year, yes. Very difficult for me. Not for her, but for me, yes.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that you're, completely over and
Yes.
done with that chapter in your life.
I tell you, it was very funny. I couldn't eat anything. If I ate something, it would just fall out. I couldn't sleep. I just come to work, finish work and go back. I went to a couple of doctors and they couldn't do anything either. Then I went to a stomach doctor. He told me, it's nothing to do with your health, you're stressed out. You're not going to, if you don't, he made me start yoga. He told me go to the gym. I don't know. Once I started going, doing a little yoga, doing a little bit of exercise, I found myself returning back to some sort of health. And in 1 year's time, I was fine. No medicines, nothing.
Exercise.
Just exercise. I used to maintain it until about a year and a half.
And then why did you give it up? Surely it's such a positive thing in your life,
Last year and a half, I somehow, I've not had the time to go actually and work out as such.
Considering you're at the race course and the running track is like a 2-minute walk for you.
You can, yes. If nothing else, you can walk here.
Exactly.
But even that,
So you're lazy, admittedly. So. Okay, back to the business of horse racing now. Tell me, apart from which are the other horses in your stable to look out for, to watch out for?
I suppose my young horses would be worth watching out for as and when they come and get ready, because there are some nice horses.
Some names?
I have a horse called Saffron Prince, who should do well. I've got a horse called Earth Tamer, who should do well. So I've got one filly called Verbatim, who should do well. One called Intezar, that should do well. So I don't have many youngsters, but I should say this, I have a pleasant change. The few that I have, I think I can expect a lot from them.
Are you religious as a person?
I say my prayers every day, even though I don't go to the fire.
Okay. And if there was any
I do wear my sadra and everything.
You do?
Yes,
so
I
all
do.
that you're a proper Parsi in that respect.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you also an eccentric Parsi?
You know, everybody says mad Baba to everybody, but I think I'm quite sober.
I think I'll have to ask the others about that more than you. And one pattern that is very apparent here with your stable, of course, is that you produce more sprinters than stayers. Why is that?
You got to get that label off you first. Otherwise, people say, "वो 5-6 फलों के ऊपर ट्रेन ही नहीं कर सकता." They say this without seeing the pedigree or without watching what you have. Most of the time, you're training leftovers. You're training babies who cost 7 and 8 lakhs. That to 4 of them to have to get together to buy it. You are distinctly lacking pedigree and especially staying blood. To maintain, to get horses who can stay, you have to have a certain budget. Staying horses never come cheap. The breeder is no fool. He realizes that this is a proper pedigree and he's going to charge you for it. And when you see, when you get expensive horses with staying blood, automatically your performance will change. Most of my owners, barring Mr. Umar Boy and barring Mr. Wadwan, can't afford to buy staying blood.
Even in the horses that you've had, you've seen a lot of success, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Every year we used to get 6 or 7 babies. We still manage out of very small budgets to produce a horse that went to class 1 religiously from a long, long time. Every single year we had one good horse. Unfortunately, he lacked the class to go a little further. Last year I had the horse, but I was just unlucky. Yes, I haven't been able to run him, but next year I can guarantee you one thing. You'll see him running the CN Wadia, the Eclipse Stakes. You'll see him go there. He's still a maiden when I talk to you.
Name?
No.
That's not fair. Okay, just before we wind up,
He will win, and I'm telling you now, before he runs, that he'll win the graded races next
so
year.
you will tell me
He'll
later
tackle them.
off
All
the
these
record.
horses you're seeing running here, he will tackle. I couldn't tackle because he got a hoof infection.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you'll tell me off the record later,
Yeah, I
right?
can tell you now, but not on people.
Okay, not on camera. Fair enough. That's our little secret. Like you said, you know, when we spoke about your jockey years and how you were teased by other jockeys. Now we've also seen something similar going on with you as a trainer. You know, your relationship with the other trainers. A little bit about that.
I suppose everybody tries to, you know, yes,
You get wound up easily.
little bit. Try to keep it inside. Sometimes
Yeah.
comes out.
Fair enough. And one last question: how do you unwind? You know, after you're done with work and now that you don't exercise.
I don't. I really don't. I just go out, have a good meal, maybe take a walk around my area,
Maybe.
see a good movie.
So simple pleasure.
Simple.
Lovely. Thank you so much for speaking to us. It's really been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
A tremendous story out there. We'll take a short break, come back and preview the Group 1 Juvenile Derby, the Poonawalla Breeders Multi Million. Welcome back to the Winning Post. Moving right along, let's take a look at our top contenders for the Poonawalla Breeders Multi Million.
February is the heavyweight month in the racing calendar, taking off with the McToll Signature Premium Indian Derby and culminating with the Poonawalla Breeders Multi Million, universally accepted as the Juvenile Derby. This is the only Grade 1 race in the country for 3-year-old horses. This race has a rich history and the Poonawallas were the trendsetters to involve the racing public in the thick of things, offering a trendy car as a grand prize in a contest of skill open to all racing patrons attending the races at Mumbai. This idea has caught on since and surely generates great enthusiasm among those at the racecourse. To be run over 1400 meters, some of the main contenders went through their final workouts on Thursday, the 21st of February 2013. Murray and Sophisticated went together, with Murray finishing ahead in 1 minute 22 seconds for the 7 furlong distance, a minute and 4 seconds for 1000 meters and 38 seconds for 600 meters. Presidential easily got the measure of Sonio and clocked 1 minute 0.7 seconds for the 5 furlong gallop that he went on. Falcon was another that worked well, clocking the same time for the same trip.
The PBM is the race for the 3-year-old in the country, when everybody looks forward to run the best horses as a 3-year-old. I am lucky to have 2 runners, Falcon, who has won well in the mile. I'm definitely going to take a chance with him. And I have Rewarding Desire, who just won last week. I know it's too quick for him, but I have to take my chance. It's very tempting. The stake money is very good. I'm hoping for the best. As a jockey, I won thrice. It was very satisfying. And I hope one of these runners make me proud and happy to win this prestigious race as a trainer.
Pacey Shroff sent out Jerome, who thrashed partner Sorrento, clocking 1 minute 0.6 seconds for the 5 furlong dash.
We are quite optimistic. Richard Hughes is going to ride him, so that does give a bit of competitive advantage. Keeping in mind, of course, he's by Schwazir, which is a very fast, one of the top sprinters. But he's out of Cobalt Sea, which is a German mare which we had purchased at an auction about 4 years ago. And that is full of stamina. So the question is, will this distance be right for him? But apart from that, I think he will be all there.
And Marinsky worked easily with Dynamo, clocking an impressive 50 seconds for 800 meters. Dancing Francis was noticed sharpening up, effortlessly finishing ahead of Arabian Lord.
Dancing Francis, he ran a 2 race, one he ran second time he won very impressively. And he's working very well and he's very happy, he worked well and he has inshallah decent chance in it.
The Poonawalla Breeders Multi Million is as good as the Derby for 3-year-olds basically. It's the only Group 1 3-year-old race in the country and the best 3-year-olds tend to participate in this race. We've got 3 or 4 outstation challengers. I've got 2 runners in the race, Dancing Phoenix, who's unbeaten with 2 starts, 2 wins. I know I may be running him a bit too soon. He ran just last week in the AGP Million and he won, giving weight to the field. I am taking my chances with him. The horse is well, and Jimmy Fortune rides him again. This time he runs at levels, and if the race hasn't come too soon, he'll give an outstanding account of himself. And the other runner I've got is a nice colt owned by the Wadwan group called Emperor of France. He's a black cash horse. He's won his only start by 7 lengths. So I think both my runners will run well, and hope I do something in the race.
Well, and that's all we have on this episode of The Winning Post. Remember to join us in a week's time. We'll be back with all the news and action. Till then, goodbye. Thanks for joining me. And as always, may the horse be with you.